before the internet. It wasn't easy to, like, you know, Google, like, where are the women's coffee houses or the women's health centers or the bookstores, or, you know, there was this whole explosion that was happening in the feminist movement, but we didn't know how to reach each other. And so what they did is they literally got in the car and they drove across the country and they visited all these cities and they documented, they collected flyers and they wrote text and they published this wonderful newsprint book. The copy I was holding up, I think it says $2.50.
What year was this?
That was 1973. And I think it had a kind of a major publisher, and they were scholars. I mean, they were like, you know, maybe, I don't know if they're PhDs yet, but they were, you know, kind of scholars. And yeah, and the book was recently, well, 2019, I think it was completely republished by, there's a cool publisher that takes historic books and just republishes them without even an intro saying, we think this is important, so that's why we're, they just literally copy it. And so the whole thing was republished in 2019. And I think that sold out, but you can find it online. It's called The New Women's Survival Catalog.
Great, thanks.
Hi, I'm Rick Simone Friedland, and I wrote and directed Boys Town.
Woo!
Terry, what an excellent question. Here's the answer.
Thank you.
I think if you had asked me what would I say to queer artists who want to make a short film.
What would you say to queer artists who want to make a short film?
Yeah, excellent question. I would say go out and make your film, because that was my first film. I've made films since that one, but I decided that I was going to do it anyway, cast myself, cast my friends. I'm going to sing in it. I'm going to do everything I know how to do, and if it's terrible, that's fine. Because then I'd learn, and then I would get better the next time I do it. So if you have a dream about something you want to create as an artist, there's just no time in life. Just do it. Be brave, do it. If it's bad, that's okay. Be better the next time you do it. So that would be my answer.
You're so right. You're so right.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom Adcox Hernandez, and I had the big line of saying no to my friend Rick. I didn't do much in the film, but I was so glad to be part of it because Rick is just an amazing human and an amazing director.
Did you improv at all?
No.
No!
The what do you call it, scenes where I was showing him how to play tennis, that was improvised,
Okay.
although I do play tennis. As a gay actor, you know, I was kind of closeted for years when I first came out, like I think probably a lot of actors were, and then I was on Falcon Crest for 1 year, the last year of the show, and I had a love scene. It was my first love scene with a woman, and it was so all the guys, all the grip talk, going, oh, fuck yeah, Tom, yeah, you get to get with Andrea, this hot, beautiful actress, Andrea Thompson, and who lives in Mexico now, and she's a real estate agent. Anyway, so I had the sex scene with her, and I remember just sweating, and I'm in this like tan-colored G-string, and I was just like, oh my God. And she's biting my inner thigh when she's down under there, supposed to be blowing me. And it was, anyway, that I don't know where I went, where that story came from, but
This is network TV we're talking about?
Live on
I
Facebook.
was glad to finally, like in my Wikipedia, it finally says Tom Adcox Hernandez is openly gay. And it was like something I strive for. I didn't know how to, I'm not very technical, and I didn't know how to, you know, get that in there myself. And finally, I did a cartoon called Gargoyles, and I was Lexington on that show for 5 years. That's a great show, isn't it? Anyway, they were going to make the character because Greg Weissman was the director and creator of the show, and he was going to make the show. He was going to make my character gay, and I found that out. He said, "We're going to make your character gay," and then the show got canceled. So, but he talked about it at all the Comic-Cons and stuff I go. I said, "There, I'm gay," and so finally on Wikipedia it says he's openly gay, and that's my story.
Obviously,
Yay,
you
Tom!
more than just one word in the next film.
That'll make
Thank
up
you.
for that. It's gonna be yes, 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 yes.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I did lights and also
The teaser of Welcome to Toolshed with one of my best friends, Andrew.
Aw. Yeah.
I think light came out of, again, wanting to just make something during the pandemic when we couldn't do anything. My brother was in Chicago, and Will, and so I was like, I'm gonna write this crazy thing about this kid we grew up with, and you're gonna do this, because he's a younger brother, so I was like, no matter what, you're doing this. And he's an amazing actor. And so, and so it was literally just kind of like, we're like, how, do we do it? We were really inspired by Roger Corman's just kind of like, do it no matter what attitude. So I wrote about kind of a kid that I grew up with, that people had, especially people in the queer community, had no tolerance for. But I always had a lot of compassion for this kid who ended up actually killing himself after he was married. And so I wanted to write about him. He grew up very religious. His father was a pastor in Oakland. And so I was like, I always just kind of imagined what was in his head all the time, and so that's what that was.
Why did you call it light?
Because I think that's what you're always searching for, even in the dark. You know what I mean? And so, and I think his husband talks about light and trying to be light for him, but he isn't able to kind of capture that. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that it's what we attempt to give people we love, and they can't always find it in a way. And so I think that's why I called it light. Maybe. It was a long time ago, and I have no brain left. But it also came out of wanting to make queer films no matter what. Like my mom was like, "Oh, you're bisexual," when when I was like 4, because I married my friend Aspen and my friend Sierra at the same time. We made out with both of them, much to their parents' horror. And so it's kind of been a thing of my entire life. But I was like, coming off of the pandemic and then the strikes and stuff, everyone's saying, well, there's no financing for queer stories. And I was like, okay, cool, then we just need to make them no matter what. And so this was the first film that we made no matter what, for zero favors, learning things. So it came out of that. And now I'm going to pass off about the other one to you.
So you see, Daniel makes very heavy dramas, and I make experimental films and horror movies. So of course we're the perfect pair to come in and make a documentary. What I want to say, the question that is what, that jump from making the kind of films that we make documentary, the real big thing is being welcomed. And Rio and Robert here, and a lot of people from Toolshed. It's a huge thing for them to allow us into the bar. And right now, I'm looking around, and that place has become such a I found community there when I didn't even know that I was missing that in my own life. It reminds me so much of where the world was in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. It's like a cycle over and over again. And what's really great is that we persevere, we find community, we are a chosen family for ourselves, and people show up and show out for each other. It's a saying that our little queer film group has, and we try to do that for each other. And I was really inspired. This is a generation that we talk about, the HIV/AIDS crisis in the film, and it's a generation who didn't expect necessarily, for another day. Every day is, not a given. It's not taken for granted, and it's really, it's a blueprint for aging and family and showing up for everybody. So, thank you all for, welcoming us here.
Yeah.
So Larry Kramer was a really dear friend of mine. He was chosen family to me. I loved him very much. And when he passed, it was during COVID, and so we couldn't go to his memorial in New York. And so there was like an Echo Park memorial with some of the old ACT UP folks. And I knew a lot of the New York friends, but not the LA friends, because I had just moved there. And so I kept hearing about this bar during Echo. They were like, oh, the Tool Shed. I'm working into the Tool Shed. I was like, I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. And I was like, the Tool Shed. So my grandma lives here, or part-time. And she goes there a lot. She goes only to underwear night on Thursdays.
Awesome.
After party.
Prada makes amazing underwear. So I kept hearing about this bar, and when I was like, oh, let's go check this bar out, and what I heard from them is that after they lost everything, during AIDS that they found their second chosen family at this bar. And so I was like, oh, like, you know, there's so much our generation can learn from the warriors that I think it's so funny that like everyone, you know, uses faggot or whatever as a slur of weakness, when really they're the strongest people I know in the world. I mean, they do what they got through, you know, other people literally, and I go like, you know, so I was just so fascinated, like these warriors that like survived, the ones that kind of came back from war, found their new family at bars like the Tool Shed. And so I was like, and then I met Robert and I like felt in love. I think he's amazing, and Rio, and I was just like, these guys are fucking fantastic, and I want to like, with Andrew, you know, try to tell a story of some sorts. And so I hope we honor you guys because you're amazing, and we're gonna work really hard too. So.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Paul, and I was the creator of The Burbles.
How about that cast? Did you see the cast on that one?
Yeah, I just asked some friends and family, and I said, "You want to be a cartoon?" They all said, "Hell yeah," including Jason here. I just wanted to say also that I'm honored to be up here with all of you. You're very talented artists, producers, writers. I'm flattered to be here. I had no statement to make. I was just drawing funny characters and putting funny words in their mouths. So that's my story behind this. You want to say something?
What's happening with the Burbles? There's more Burbles.
Actually, I met another producer. He worked with on Shrek and the latest Scooby-Doo. His name is Sean Bishop. And we're working on the Burbles, and we've renamed it Ma-in-Law. And it's going to be based more around the mother-in-law character. And
who is Carol Burnett? The mother-in-law's voice is Carol Burnett.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us more, tell us more.
And Amanda Wiss now is taking the place of Judy's. She passed away.
Judy played the
wife.
Wife, yeah.
And but Robert Romanis is still the husband, you know, from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And we'll find a nice part for you, other than just ancillary characters. You want to say something?
Yeah, he said right, it's just a really cute, fun cartoon, and what's really interesting about it, so I don't know if everybody knows me, I'm an actor and a comedian, and I work primarily in episodic TV and in a lot of indie films, and so when somebody lets me be a part of their piece, whatever it is, when I get to play any kind of character, whether the character is straight or gay, it's just such a gift, and at my age, I know how hard it was for us, as the other gentleman was talking about, how hard it is to get into this place where people just think of you as an actor, not an openly gay actor. And for me, I didn't even remember, because I remember we were doing it, I thought, am I doing another character? Oh my God, what voice am I going to use? I played the two guys playing poker, is that right? Is that it?
Yeah, quickie question. Did you have him sit in his underwear to draw him?
I didn't have to, but I insisted.
I was already in my underwear. I showed up that way because that's what the gays do. So it's always a gift to get hired by somebody to do a piece. And then when I heard Carol Burnett and Terry was in it, and Paul was in it, and everybody
different ones. We were in different ones, not that one.
Different things that he worked on. So I wanted to be in it too. And thank you.
Aww.
Yeah, great. Thank you all. So I know it's a long time, but does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Yes.
I wanted to thank you guys for creating such relatable, vulnerable content, not only as individuals, but as a community. And I was wondering if you guys saw anybody else's works that really resonated with you tonight.
Oh, that's a great question.
Repeat the question, please.
Were you inspired by anybody's work?
Any other filmmaker's work? Yeah.
What I'll say is there's a lot of folks on this panel who I consider really great friends, and I'm insanely inspired by their work, and especially like facing kind of what we're heading towards, what we're facing in this country right now. They actually help me get up every day as a filmmaker and go like, you know, people like Sherry, who I met at Tallgrass, and Sydney, who I think is extraordinary, and you know, Tyler and Chris, and like we're all friends. And I think we all have each other's back and have different styles in film, and I know that if I need them, they'll show up, and I hope they know I'll show up for them. And I think we have a really badass fucking community. So I would love to see MAGA try to take that out because we'll fuck them up.
Do you want to say something? Oh, you don't want to.
Yeah, so in a very small world, I'm director of programming for this LGBT film festival called Stamped in Pensacola, Florida, and the name Stamped came from when LGBT folks were facing discrimination in the 90s. They would stamp their money with pink triangles or their credit card receipts to show how much money they were pumping into the economy because Memorial Day weekend is a big destination for LGBT folks. So that really worked, and it started to turn the tide just in that community. So at any rate, I go out and I find films, and so last year I found Stand Behavior, that's Tyler's film, and I thought it was going to be perfect because I know Pensacola has a pretty vibrant drag community, and I've seen some questionable behavior from patrons towards drag queens, so I programmed it, and then it was just coincidental that Tyler's short was going to be in this block, so it's just kind of fun how things come full circle, and it went great at Stamped. They loved it.
Anybody else? Yes.
Daniel, what's the yellow ribbon mean?
Oh, this is my grandma threw a dinner, and she loves party favors, so she had her ribbon on, so I put my ribbon on. And I didn't know how to tie it correctly, so either it's V or Andrew tied it, but I can't remember who. But I was very thankful. So this is in honor of my grandma, who's a badass.
Yeah.
In her panties that she'll shed. Prada panties. Anybody else? Yes.
There were so many amazing performances in these, but Will's performance, to get that level of intensity and to sustain it without a drop, without a wiggle, without anything, how did he react when you proposed this to him? Because it's a big deal.
I think Will and I really share a very similar heart and brain, and he's very straight but very protective of me, and I think he knows these guys. Like, he grew up kind of in a really very hetero kind of white hetero dude. He was a boxer, like all of that, so he knows these guys, but he's actually a total romantic and very soft and very loving and very vulnerable. And a lot of people don't see that in him because he's such a dude. And so I was like, oh, I want to see that side of you. And I think he trusts me a lot, and I trust him a lot. And it was very quiet, like there was nobody out. So I think he felt like he could sit in the parking lot at 2 a.m, which is what it was, and kind of shed something very vulnerable because there was no one there to see it in a way. He's amazing. I mean, Will's like been on Broadway. He's a really successful actor. So he's started with Sandra Bullock, and he's very successful. So I love him dearly. But I like the crazy weird shit we do because he doesn't do it that much. And so I also just I think I know his demons and he knows mine. And so I think we share that in that film, even though that's not our specific demon. We were able to kind of share it with each other. If that makes sense.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Regarding the stand behavior, really appreciate you bringing drag into a more personalized, get to know us, who we are kind of thing. Been a drag queen years ago, not anymore. Now I'm just a gender fuck. But I really appreciate the way that you present that. I mean, that is the way. It's not just the bridal parties, because you get some wound up hormones that are like 3 sheets to the wind, and they're worse. But you don't see people humanized who are drag queens. Frequently, they are demonized, even within our own community, and it's unfortunate. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to hear. I would love to see you explore it more.
It's on the budget.
Yes.
Tyler has a badass feature that he's working on, which is amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, that's going to be my question. And if ever, are people developing these shorts in?
Oh.
Did you all hear that? Is anybody developing their short into a feature? Is anybody doing that?
Oh, there's a few.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a feature, but it was proof of concept for a series to follow that character as he navigates the world as a newly single, middle-aged gay man, which was the idea about the film came out of a conversation I had with a friend where I was standing in a bar and I was too old and I was wearing the wrong clothes and I didn't know any of the music and all my friends were on their phone and I was like, Jesus Christ.
That's Palm Springs, honey.
Oh, well, it was Hollywood too, and I thought to myself, God, if God forbid I was suddenly single, what would I do? I'd have to come out all over again. So that's proof of concept for an idea of a series about that character going on and trying to find his way in the new gay world that we live in today.
Yeah. Well done, Jim.
To answer that, yes. We are planning to make Saturday Ritual into a feature. There's so much more to expand on. Yeah, the girls and just how they get to the psychic, what that looks like after.
Maybe we'll have the twins by then.
Yeah, maybe the twins will appear, who knows. It got cut off a little bit in the export here, but it showed like 6 years later. It'd be cool to just expand on that a little more. Yeah, we're in development for it, just classically trying to find the funding. We last screened at Cannes Film Festival, where actually your film screened as well, in the American Pavilion Emerging Filmmakers Showcase, and that seemed to be very fruitful. So fingers crossed, let's get a feature version of Saturday Ritual out there.
Yeah.
So I do want to expand more than he knows into a feature film, but before that, actually I'm going to make a feature film that Helena Alexis is going to be in as well, and her dog Zeus. Her dog Zeus is right here, and he's going to play Zeus. And it's called The Foot Longing, and I play a character who, see the Zeus, I mean, he's adorable.
Come on out, Zeus. We want to see him.
Yay!
Zeus will need his own trailer.
Oh my God, it's adorable.
This is so
You
cute.
just stole the show. No one's gonna look at anything.
No, Mike's got.
So I play a character who lives a very quiet life with his husband in Los Angeles, and then my husband dies unexpectedly, and it's 2 years later, and my friend Greg, who's played by my friend Greg, who's in a wheelchair, and Greg is someone that I've learned a lot from, and my character has a lot of judgment about this world called the devotees, which I don't know if people have heard of this, but this is people who have a fetish for somebody with a disability. They call it devs for short. So my character has judgment about the devs world that Greg's involved in, but really I'm projecting my own shame about having a foot fetish, because I can't even call it a fetish, that's why it's called the foot longing. So Greg eventually gets me to try to explore my foot fetish that I never got to explore with my husband because he was not into it. So he brings me to a relationship specialist, and she takes one look at me and she says, Palm Springs. So I go to Palm Springs to start exploring and open up my heart a little bit and meet all sorts of new people. And actually there's a lot of people that we've cast, because we'll film about half of it in Palm Springs. A lot of people are here, so I just want to give a shout out to them.
Are you having foot auditions? Because we're all actors here.
I mean, if people want to model their feet, I'm not opposed. So a little wave when I say your name: Ron Coronado, Tracy Engelking, Dave Rossi, Sandra Foote, our director Stephen Konchelik. They're all here, and these folks could not be here, and they were really bummed they could not be here. It was Mike Ridgway, Steve Becker, and Rob Kessinger-Dank. So we're super excited to make this film in Palm Springs in LA.
Hey, good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, it's late. I need to let you guys go.
Oh,
Let's hear it one more time.
Chris.
Everybody up here.
Chris, the cards.
Thank you, Paul and Steven, for putting this together. Thank you, everybody involved with TV. Thank you for coming. It's amazing support. We're so appreciative. Thank you, everyone.
Unofficial after party at the end.